Hello, everyone. Tassif here, and it is past 9 p.m. The exact time is 9:02 p.m. here in Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm starting this live stream. Sorry, I'm a minute late, and as always, I want to wait for a minute or two to allow more people to join this live stream. I attended an event today, which I will be talking about. It's a very important event. And so before I begin, I'm just going to wait for a few moments here. But in the meantime, as you are joining, please say hello in the live chat window. Write something, give me a thumbs up, or just wave or say hi. Write something in the chat window so I know who's here. Let's see. We're past 1 minute. I'm going to wait for another minute before I start. And I'm going to be talking about, as I said, an event that I attended, a very, very important event. My friend Terry from South Dakota is here. Hi, Terry. Terry is is putting an image of the U.S. flag in the live chat window. Absolutely. What a beautiful country we live in, the greatest country in the world. And we have to work hard to protect our rights and our freedoms. So my friends, I'm going to wait for a couple more seconds, and then I will start talking about the event that I attended. And on my social media, I actually put up pictures of that event, pictures that were captured at that event. If you go to Facebook, if you look for me on Facebook, if you search my name, you should be able to see some of those pictures. Let me see. I'm going to actually share that on my page. Let's see, on your page. Okay, so if you go to Facebook, if you type my name, Tassif Anam, you are going to come across a page with roughly 5,700 followers. If you go to that page, you're going to see the pictures from the event today. So please do that. Okay, my friends, I'm going to start talking about what I want to talk about today. So I attended an event today, which is a U.S. Senate campaign launch event. Exactly. Here in Wisconsin, Eric Hovde, businessman Eric Hovde, launched his U.S. Senate campaign today. There was a program that I attended. It was in Madison, and it was in the downtown area in a very nice building called the Ovation, a very nice building. And that's where this U.S. Senate campaign launch program was held. And people were very, very excited and enthusiastic about this because, as I said, my friends, there's a lot at stake this election, November 2024. There's a lot at stake. And right now, the Republicans don't have a majority in the U.S. Senate. And so we are hoping that Donald Trump will win the presidency. We are hoping that the U.S. House of Representatives will remain in Republican control. We will have majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. In fact, as I said before, if you've been following my channel, we need to grow the size of the majority in the U.S. House, in Congress, okay? But if you really want the next president, hopefully that's Donald Trump, if you really want the next Republican president to be successful, we not only need, obviously, first we need a Republican president, but we not only need majority in the U.S. House of Representatives, we also need majority in the U.S. Senate. And that's possible if we win some Senate seats. And there is an opportunity for Republicans to win the Senate seat that's up for re-election in November. That's the seat currently held by Senator Tammy Baldwin. Senator Tammy Baldwin is a Democrat, and she is an incumbent U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, and she is up for re-election. And so there's an opportunity for Republicans to choose a candidate, to nominate someone who can win, who can defeat the incumbent U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin and win the U.S. Senate seat. We have to flip the U.S. Senate seat in Wisconsin that's up for re-election from Democrat hands to Republican hands. And we can do that. So what happened today, the significance of the event that I attended today is a very successful businessman by the name of Eric Hovde. And if you don't know about him, you can just go and search on the internet. Very successful businessman, has has business involvement in the banking sector and in real estate and so on and so forth. Very successful businessman. Today he had an event in which he officially launched his campaign for the U.S. Senate. So Eric Hovde is going to be challenging incumbent U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin. Eric Hovde, Republican, is going to be challenging Tammy Baldwin, Democrat. And so I was at that event, and let me tell you, he has some great people, involved in his campaign. And so I'm very, very hopeful that Mr. Hovde is going to have a successful campaign and that he will be able to defeat Senator Tammy Baldwin in November. And if that happens, if we pick up that Senate seat, given that we hold on to the Republican Senate seats that we already have, if we don't lose any seats, but if we gain this U.S. Senate seat in Wisconsin, then we have majority in the Senate, and that's what we want. So there's a real opportunity for Republicans to gain one seat in Wisconsin, and also there are some other races in other parts of the country that we can also win. Let me look at the chat window here. My friend Terry writes, Baldwin has been in politics. Yeah, Senator Baldwin, she has held different political offices, and she is now the U.S. Senator, but she has been in politics for a very long time. And that's why I think people have a strong desire to see somebody who is outside of this political field, who is from outside of the political arena, and Eric Hovde would be that person. And if he wins, then given that everything else remains the same, that we don't lose any Senate seats, if we win this Wisconsin Senate seat that's up for re-election, then we will have Senate majority. And that's what we need. That's what we need. Because, if we have a Republican president, if we have majority in the House, but we don't have majority in the Senate, then lots of great ideas, great pieces of legislation may just not move forward. There will be gridlock. And so we need majority in the House, we need to regain majority in the Senate, and we need a Republican president. And if that happens, then we will be able to move this country in the right direction. And so, my friends, I'm very hopeful. And so I was at that event. Like I said before, if you want to take a look at some of the pictures that I posted from that U.S. Senate campaign launch event, you can go to Facebook. You can type my name, Tausif Anam, and you will see there's a public page with 5,000 plus followers. And if you visit that page, you'll be able to see those pictures from that event. So go and take a look. And also I posted a picture on Twitter as well as on Instagram. So you can go to Twitter, look at my profile, and you'll see a picture there. And I'm also on Instagram, so you can follow me on Instagram. But like I said, Eric Hovde has some wonderful people involved in his Senate campaign, and so I'm hopeful that this will be a successful campaign. There's obviously a lot of work that needs to be done because Wisconsin is a battleground state. It is a battleground state, which means that we don't know what the outcome will be. It's hard to predict. There are some states that are blue states, like New York, like Washington State, and there are some red states, right? So Wisconsin is neither fully red nor blue when it comes to statewide races. Okay, if you look at individual districts, state senate districts, and state assembly districts, then as of now the Republicans have a significant majority in the state senate and in the state assembly. But when you are looking at statewide races, when a candidate is running for governor or U.S. Senate or attorney general or a statewide office, then it's really hard to predict which way people are going to vote, because there are lots of independent voters, people who don't vote blue necessarily, who don't vote red necessarily. They can vote for a Democrat in one election, they can vote for a Republican in some other election. So they are the independent voters, right? The swing voters. They can swing the election one way or another. And so it's hard to predict what's going to happen in November 2024, but I think we have the right candidate. Eric Hovde, I think he's going to do great. He definitely has the energy. I think he has the commitment and the willingness to work hard. And that's just my observation from having heard him talk today and from having, met him. I have met him in the past, but today was obviously a significant event in which I saw him again. And his campaign launch speech was very nice because he pretty much presented the facts. He presented the facts, and the facts are that many middle class families and people in low income categories, they are struggling because of inflation. We as a country, we are struggling, we are suffering because of the border crisis and because of illegal drugs coming into our country. And we are struggling, we are suffering. And so if we want to restore the American dream, what do we have to do? We have to vote for the right candidates, the candidates who are going to prioritize the United States, who are going to put Americans first, and who are going to fight to protect our freedom and our rights. And so we have to vote for conservative candidates. And so I'm very happy to see there was a lot of speculation for months now, who's going to run against Tammy Baldwin, who's going to be running. And there are a couple other candidates who are campaigning, who are running. But I think Eric Hovde is the most prominent of the candidates we have so far. And he is clearly, as soon as he launched, I could tell he's the front runner. He's going to be the front runner. Now, will there be any other high-profile individuals, high-profile political figures jumping into the U.S. Senate race in Wisconsin? It may happen, it may not. There's no way to know. There's no way to predict. Obviously, we are towards the end of February, and this is 2024. So we are deep into the political season, and every second we are moving forward into the future. So if there are other candidates who are waiting, who are going to be waiting longer to announce, that's probably not a good campaign strategy, given that we're already heading towards March of 2024 and the election is in November. But Eric Hovde, I think he's going to. He has what it takes to win, and that's my observation. And I'm hoping he wins. I'm hoping that we get to defeat the Democrats and win this U.S. Senate seat in Wisconsin. So, my friends, some of the other races that I mentioned in West Virginia. Incumbent Senator Joe Manchin is not seeking re-election, and he's a Democrat. And so if he does not seek re-election, what's going to happen? There's a contest for that seat. And I think Governor Jim Justice of West Virginia, I think he's going to be able to win that seat. Now, I don't follow West Virginia politics as closely as I follow Wisconsin politics, obviously, because I live in Wisconsin. And but I think based on some of the analysis that I've seen and some of the things I've read, and just from my own understanding, I think Jim Justice has a very good shot at winning that U.S. Senate seat in West Virginia. Now, in Maryland, as I previously mentioned, Larry Hogan, Republican, former governor of Maryland, he's running. Now, Larry Hogan is not a Trump ally, okay? He's not known as a Trump ally, but I think he's still going to be able to win if he wants, if he works hard, because he already held statewide office in Maryland. He was the governor. So I think that regardless of whether he's a Trump ally or not, which, we know he's not a Trump ally, I still think that Larry Hogan, Republican, should be able to win that Senate seat in Maryland. As I said, he already was a statewide office holder in Maryland. And then Maryland is a blue state. Maryland is a blue state. So, Trump allies may be able to win in other states, but in Maryland, I don't know. Just like West Virginia, I don't follow Maryland politics too closely, but just the fact that Larry Hogan served as the governor in a blue state, served as a Republican governor in a blue state, that gives me confidence that he should be able to win that U.S. Senate seat in Maryland. So if that happens, that'll be wonderful. And then Kari Lake in Arizona. I am looking forward to the Senate race in Arizona, and I'm hoping that Kari Lake wins. She is a Trump ally. We know that. And she is, she's got the right attitude. She's got the right energy. She's got a great personality. I have not met her, but, I know people who have met her, and, I think I followed her campaign, her gubernatorial campaign, and I've watched her interviews, and I think she's going to do great. I think she's going to do great. Is it going to be challenging? I think it'll be challenging in Arizona, but I think we can win. I think we can win. And in 2024, with hopefully Trump on the ballot as the candidate, as the GOP nominee for president, I think that's going to drive voter turnout among Republicans, and that may help Kari Lake win the U.S. Senate seat in Arizona. So if Eric Hovde wins, if Jim Justice wins, if Larry Hogan wins, if Kari Lake wins, then we have 4 victories, and we will have the Senate majority. And so, my friends, Wisconsin, as always, it's going to be a very, very important state, battleground state, and we have to. I mean, I would. So Susan is here. Susan writes, "Good evening." Good evening, Susan. Thank you for joining. And so, as I was saying, if you are not in Wisconsin, if you don't pay attention to Wisconsin politics, I would say start paying attention. Start paying attention. It's not difficult. Just maybe twice a week, look at just do a search on the internet and look for the latest updates from the U.S. Senate race in Wisconsin. So, I think it'll be interesting, and we just have to wait and see what happens going forward. This campaign launch event took place on a beautiful day. The temperature was, actually, last I checked, the temperature was in the 50s, which is pretty unusual for Wisconsin in February. And so I was telling a few of my friends who were at that campaign event, I said, it's a good sign. It's a good sign for the campaign that the campaign is being launched on a day when we have such bright and beautiful and warm weather in Wisconsin in February. I mean, usually in February, people think that there'd be a lot of snow and maybe ice and freezing temperature, but that didn't happen today. And so, my friends, uh, as people say, morning shows the day. If this is the morning for the campaign, then I think it's a great morning. Okay, the start has been good, and and I would say connect with me on Facebook. Okay, go and follow my page. Search for my name, Tausif Anam, on Facebook. You'll find a page with 5,000 plus followers. You can go to that page and follow that page. Hit like, and you'll see my pictures from today's event. Great event, surrounded by supporters. Eric Havdi came out and he gave a nice speech, and people cheered. His family was there with him, and lots of supporters, lots of prominent individuals from the Republican political circle here in Wisconsin were present, and it was an overall a great event. I think people left the event feeling energized and enthusiastic about November 2024, and so the campaign has started, and the months will go by really fast. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and the ground game is important. We're probably going to see lots of political ads on TV, and maybe ads will pop up on social media, and radio ads. There'll be lots and lots of ads, but what's really important, and this applies to candidates who are running for mayor, city council, who are running for state assembly, state senate, governor, Congress, Senate, whatever. I mean, whether you're a candidate for a local government office, a state government office, or a federal office, no matter what level of government, I think it is important for people, for candidates, to be out there and meeting people in person. I mean, nothing's more powerful than shaking someone's hand. If you're a candidate, you go out and about, you're meeting people at an event, you're giving a speech, and then you're going around shaking hands, looking people in the eye, listening to their concerns, listening to their thoughts, and answering their questions honestly. Honestly, candidates, when they answer people's questions, when voters come and ask, like, what's your position on this issue? What's your position on that issue? What do you think about this legislation? What do you think about, this initiative? Candidates should be honest. Honesty is the best policy. We know that. And political candidates must be truthful in the way they present themselves to people. Don't sugarcoat stuff, and don't try to please the audience. Just give them the facts. Tell them what's going on. Tell them your views. Tell them your opinions. Tell them what you believe in, so that people know, people can be informed, and people can make informed decisions. There are candidates who may try to answer in a way that makes the person asking the question happy, but that's not being truthful. Candidates will have to be truthful, will have to be honest, and Republicans understand that. And Republicans, they're not, the candidates I know personally, they're not sugarcoating stuff. They are highlighting the problems that we face in society. They're highlighting the issues. They are proposing solutions, whether it's local government, state government, federal government, and it's important to make promises that you can deliver. Okay, so it's never a good idea to overpromise and underdeliver. People should only make the promises that they know that they can deliver. And so I'm very hopeful that we have great candidates in Wisconsin. Some of my friends are running for local government seats, running for county board, and running for village board, and they are doing great because they are pointing out the problems that need to be addressed. And then obviously being involved in the political sector here in Wisconsin, I know that our Republican leaders at the state level, in state assembly, state senate, they are some wonderful people who I have known personally for many years, and a lot of them are going to be running for re-election. And if there are, as they run for re-election, um, they can just go in front of the people and highlight all the things that they have done. So truth and honesty is really the foundation of good political process. Truth is the foundation, truth and honesty. And so I'm hoping that 2024 November will be a very successful month. And I'm hoping that we not only win the US Senate seat that's up for re-election. It's now currently held by a Democrat, Senator Tammy Baldwin. I'm hoping that Eric Hovde wins to help us regain the majority in the US Senate. So what happens in Wisconsin will have will be important um, in the overall nationwide picture when you think about November 2024. So I'm looking forward to victories in local races in the spring election. I'm looking forward to victories at the state level in state assembly and state senate. And I'm looking forward to a Republican victory in the race for the US Senate seat that's up for re-election in Wisconsin. My friends, that's pretty much all I have. Once again, I'll encourage you to go and find me on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, please go to Facebook and find me. Look for me, tausifanam.net. Follow my page. You can send me messages. You can, you can write comments on my pictures and my posts. Terry writes, Democrats have 20 Senate seats to defend Republican 10. Now, Terry, last I checked, I think it was 23 and 11, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I may be wrong. Maybe I didn't see the updated numbers. But that's what I had seen in a news article, that Democrats have 23, maybe 22 or 23. I think it's 23 Senate seats to defend, and we have 11. That's what I had seen. Oh, yeah, 3. Okay, so you're saying 3 are not parties. So 3 are like independents, but, the independents caucus with the Democrats, right? Right, yeah, that's what Terry wrote, but they vote with Democrats. So there are some independent U.S. senators, neither Republican nor Democrat. They're independents, but they caucus with the Democrats, right? So when you take that into consideration, they're really Democrats. Okay, they may be officially independent, but they're really Democrats. What matters is how people are going to vote when there's a legislation, right? That's what matters more than the official labels. When there's a bill on the floor of the Senate, a bill that is widely supported by conservatives, by Republicans, and by freedom-loving Americans, who votes how? The independents. Are they going to support that, or are they going to go party line? Side with the Democrats. So it's important to see people's voting records, and we will be talking more about that in the months ahead, because in any election cycle, whenever you have an incumbent running for re-election and when you have a challenger, voting records are discussed a lot. How did the incumbent vote on key legislation in the last 6 years? So there'll be lots to discuss as we move forward. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so already. Please tell your friends, your family members, and your neighbors about my YouTube channel. And also, if you have been connected with my YouTube channel, if you've been watching my videos and tuning in for my live streams, please also connect with me on Facebook. Go to Facebook, search for Tausif Anam. You'll find a page with 5,000 plus followers. Click like, stay connected with me. And also, let me tell you, I send out e-newsletters to hundreds of people, and that list continues to grow. So if you want to get e-newsletters from me, please, please, send me your email address. You can write your email address in the comments, but if you don't feel like sharing your email address publicly, you can send me a message afterwards. You can go to Facebook and send me a message from Facebook afterwards, and you can give me your email address so that I can add you to my list so that you get my e-newsletters. Also, what you can do, you can go to my website, tossifanam.net, and once you're on my website on the homepage, you can scroll down and you'll see a location where you can enter your email address, click a button and sign up for my e-newsletter. You can do that too. So my friends, I'm very excited. I had a great afternoon, evening, because I attended that U.S. Senate campaign launch event, and I was so happy to see that there was enthusiasm and energy in the room, and people are hopeful. Hope is something that I always highlight. We have to have hope, no matter how difficult things get. We have to have hope. We cannot lose hope. Okay, I emphasized that before, I think in more than one video. Hope, we need hope. We need optimism. These are challenging times. Our country is facing many crises, economic crises, and then border crisis, and then, migrant crisis, and so many problems, internationally. If you look at other countries, there are military conflicts and political unrest, and those conflicts also affect us here at home, because it's an interconnected world. So my friends, when we look at all these crises, all these problems, it's very easy to feel sad and hopeless and pessimistic. But no, we have to be optimistic. We have to have hope, because hope is what drives us forward. It gives us energy. It gives us enthusiasm. And it just takes us closer to our goals, and it helps us achieve and accomplish things. So we have to have hope. We have to have optimism. And I'm feeling very hopeful after attending the U.S. Senate campaign launch party. And I know that Republicans in counties across Wisconsin are really looking forward to winning this Senate seat. Eric Hovde, great candidate. I hope he wins, and I know that he's going to have tremendous support from Republicans all over Wisconsin. And Wisconsin will help us achieve. If we win Wisconsin, it'll help us achieve majority in the U.S. Senate. So, every victory leads to a bigger victory. And so, as Republicans across the country, we have to unite, support your candidates, no matter what state or city you are in. Support your local candidates, support your state candidates, support the conservatives who are running for office, help them win. And it's about restoring the American dream, my friends. It's about bringing stability back to the economy. It's about protecting our rights, defending our freedom, and ensuring that we continue to have the rule of law in this country. Because right now what we have at the southern border is complete lawlessness. In sanctuary cities, complete lawlessness. Chicago, New York, we see widespread lawlessness. So across the country, if conservatives are running and if they are winning elections, then we will be able to protect our rights and freedoms and address all the problems that we face right now. My friends, let's regain majority in the U.S. Senate. Let's grow our majority in the U.S. House of Representatives, and let's win back the White House. Donald Trump is the GOP nominee. In my observation, he is the person I would like to see on the presidential ticket. I still don't know who he is going to pick as his VP, but I'm hoping Donald Trump gets the nomination and that he goes on to win in November 2024. My friends, that's all I have for today, and I will be coming back with more videos and more live stream. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Now, before I go, one more thing, in case you have not seen, I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone here. I posted a video. About 15 hours ago. It was early this morning. It's a video that I posted. It's an episode of my podcast, and there's a video version on my YouTube channel. So if you have not seen that, please check it out. The title is "Will Michigan Residents House Migrants in Their Homes?" Okay. Will Michigan residents house migrants in their homes? Sounds like a ridiculous question, right? Why would anyone house migrants in their homes? Oh, someone asked, Tosif, can you spell his name so I can have a look? Thank you. So you're probably asking about the spelling of the candidate who's running for U.S. Senate as a Republican from Wisconsin. Well, my friend Terry just wrote the last name, Havdi. You can check it out. My friend Terry just wrote the spelling of the name, Havdi. Check it out here. Thank you, Terry, for writing that spelling. As I was saying, there are government officials in Michigan. There are government officials in Michigan who are encouraging Americans to house migrants in their homes. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. I was going to end this live stream, but let me talk for a few more minutes, okay? Because I see people are still here. This is important. I know you can watch that video afterwards, but it's so shocking that government officials in Michigan, they are now asking Americans in Michigan residents, government officials in Michigan are now asking Michigan residents to house migrants in their homes, and not just housing migrants. The government officials, I forget what agency it is. I mentioned that in the video, so you can look it up. There's a state agency that's creating a program, a sponsorship program, sort of, and anyone who's willing to participate in that program on a volunteer basis will have to make a commitment for at least 90 days to help out migrant families with housing, and by picking them up at the airport, and by helping their children get enrolled in schools, and by helping the adults find employment. I mean, what's going on? What's wrong with Michigan? And it's just unbelievable. I mean, here in Wisconsin, I'm looking at our neighbor, Illinois, and that's a complete mess. I mean, there are no words to describe the mess that Illinois is right now, because of Chicago mostly, and because of, the liberals in charge in state government. And so that's one of our neighbors, right? That's one of our neighbors, Illinois, complete mess. And the other neighbor we have, Michigan, Wisconsin's neighbor, Michigan. Now they are coming up with all these crazy ideas, and they're encouraging American citizens to house migrants in their homes. I mean, I can't believe that. I mean, if you have thoughts, if you have reactions, please let me know. Write it in the chat window. Cat007 gives me a thumbs up. Thank you, Cat007. Thank you for joining. And it's just, I cannot believe what's going on. And so, I think what's happening is that the liberals, the left-wing politicians, are attacking property rights. They are attacking property rights. They are trying to erode property rights in the United States. And the process has started. Why would anyone want to house migrants in their homes? I mean, if you're a homeowner, you can house anyone you want in your home. I mean, this is a free country after all. If you want to house migrants, go ahead. But why would anyone do that? It doesn't make sense. You know why it doesn't make sense? Because we don't know where the migrants are coming from. We don't know who these migrants are. When someone gets a visa to enter the United States, a student visa, a tourist visa, whatever, an immigrant visa, when somebody gets a visa, there's some kind of paperwork, there's documentation, we know who that person is, where that person's coming from, because it's the proper way. But when the migrants, when they cross the southern border and they enter the United States, completely violating our nation's immigration laws, they're just walking across the southern border, crossing the Rio Grande, just entering the United States. And how can the government officials of a state, the government officials of Michigan, think that it's a good idea for people to house these strangers, these unknown people? Even saying stranger isn't the right word. Stranger is anyone who you don't know, but this is beyond that. I mean, these are individuals. We have no idea what their background is, what their history is, where they're coming from. Why do they want to be in the United States? I mean, it's just like, why would anyone do that? Why would anyone do that? But the Michigan officials, they think, here's the other thing. The liberals, they come up with horrible ideas, bad ideas, like beyond unbelievably bad. The liberals come up with like super bad ideas, but you know what they do? They come up with fancy names, okay? They come up with like really fancy, cool names to try to make their bad ideas sound good. So in Michigan, what they're doing is they're calling it Welcome Corps. Be a part of the Welcome Corps. Help out migrants. House them in your homes. Go pick them up from the airport. Help their kids enroll in school. Help them find work. Be a part of the Welcome Corps. Sponsor a family. I mean, that's the kind of craziness that the liberals try to sell by attaching fancy names. Welcome Corps. Welcome who? Who are you going to welcome? We don't know who the migrants are. We don't know where they're from. Do we know where they're from? I know people from all over the world are crossing the southern border, coming to the United States because the Biden administration kept the border open. We don't know their history. They have not been through background check. If you are a foreign national and you follow the immigration laws and rules to enter the United States legally, you're going to have to go through background check. You're going to have to complete a lot of paperwork. And, there's a detailed process. People have to be vetted. But these migrants, these people who are crossing the border, we don't know who they are. And the Michigan officials think that they're going to try to convince American citizens to house these unknown migrants in homes and make a commitment for at least 90 days? How did they come up with that number? People who volunteer to participate in this program will have to make a commitment for at least 90 days. So, you want to be kind and house completely unknown strangers whose background you don't know, you don't know their history, you want to house them, you want to be a part of this fancy, super fancy Welcome Corps in Michigan? Guess what? You're stuck for 90 days. I don't know if they're going to make people sign an affidavit or some kind of a contract or whatever, but it doesn't sound good. But this is how the liberals are trying to diminish property rights. I mean, do you think at some point the liberals may try to mandate that that you'll have to house migrants in private homes. Wow. I mean, it sounds crazy now, but what's happening right now is also crazy. I mean, go back 10 years. Do you see, go back 10 years. Do you see the people of America facing what we are facing right now? Hard to believe, right? But we are facing this crazy reality because the liberals are in charge. And so, you know, now the liberals want to make it sound like it's a volunteer program. Well, some far left politicians may try to mandate this stuff. They may mandate the housing of migrants in people's homes. That's what happens when liberals are in charge in state government and in federal government. The Biden administration keeping the border open. We are a sovereign nation. Why is our border open? We need to secure the southern border and stop this influx of illegal immigrants. My friends, like several minutes ago, I said I was going to stop this live stream, and then I started talking about Michigan and what's going on there, and I'm continuing. You see, there's a lot to talk about, and I've seen some other news updates, which I haven't studied very closely yet, so I'm going to talk about those tomorrow. But it's important to see what's happening. I mean, try to see the bigger picture here. This is an attack on property rights. This is an attack on private property rights. And so the people of Michigan, they must reject. The people of Michigan must strongly reject this idea of migrants being housed in people's homes, this welcome corps, the sponsorship program. This is complete nonsense. There are homeless Americans who don't have place to sleep. There are nonprofits who are helping out the migrants while American citizens suffer. So you know what? This is another thing that we need to talk about. The nonprofits, the role of the nonprofits in this country. The nonprofits. Now, whether it's a nonprofit that provides shelter, whether it's a nonprofit that provides medical care or provides food, whatever. I think there's a moral obligation for nonprofits to prioritize Americans. But I see many nonprofits helping out the illegal immigrants. Now, as I've said before, every dollar that you spend on illegal immigrants, that dollar is no longer available to be spent on American citizens in need. And don't we have an obligation as a society to help out our fellow Americans? A lot of homeless Americans are not happy with what's going on because they feel left out. They feel deprived. They're not getting the free stuff that the migrants are getting. American citizens in need, homeless Americans, homeless veterans, children in poverty, American children in poverty, American senior citizens who are struggling to make ends meet, when they see this crisis, this border crisis, and when they look at their politicians and see that the people they elected are busy taking taxpayer dollars and spending those dollars on the migrants, how are the Americans supposed to feel? American seniors, American veterans, homeless Americans, how are they supposed to feel when they see that they are being left out and the dollars are going towards the illegal immigrants? And not just thousands of dollars or tens of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. Remember I mentioned Kathy Hochul, that she proposed allocating $2.4 billion with a B billion dollars to provide housing, food, medical services, legal services for the migrants. I mean, can you imagine migrants, illegal immigrants getting legal services? I mean, what kind of a joke is this? Illegal immigrants getting legal services paid for by taxpayers. Can you imagine that? But that's what's happening. If you have a legal question, okay? Let's say you've got a question. We were talking about property rights, right? I mean, let's say you've got a question about real estate, okay? You call a lawyer, or you've got questions about taxation or whatever. Whatever question you have, okay? It's a legal question, and you need to talk to a lawyer, and you call a lawyer's office. Do you think the lawyer's going to talk to you for free? If you sit down with a lawyer for 1 hour, how much are you going to be billed? That depends on what your lawyer charges by the hour. Could be $200, could be $300, could be $400, $500. Depends on the on what kind of lawyer you go to. But you're going to have to pay something. It's not going to be free advice. If you are seeking a professional service, you're going to have to pay a fee. But guess what's happening? The migrants are going to get legal services paid for by American taxpayers. This is unbelievable what's happening in this country. It doesn't make sense. And that's why we have to focus on November 2024. Because that's our opportunity to elect a Republican president and to grow the size of the majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, and to regain the majority in the U.S. Senate. Now, going back to the question of the House of Representatives, let me tell you, and I've expressed this before, that I'm very concerned after seeing that we lost that New York 3rd Congressional District special election. Okay? I mean, I was hoping that after going through all that the people of New York are going through, that they are going to overwhelmingly vote for the Republican candidate and, vote for a Republican. I was hoping that the people of New York will reject Democrats. But in that special election for New York's 3rd Congressional District, a Democrat won. I thought the people will reject the Democrats. I thought people will vote for Republicans. But what ended up happening is that a Democrat won that special election for New York's 3rd Congressional District. And as a result of that, our majority, the size of our majority in the U.S. House of Representatives actually, it did shrink a little bit. And so we now have a smaller majority than we had prior to that special election. It's very concerning. And that's why I say you can't take things for granted. You can't just say, you can't think, that was the mindset that many people had when we were in the 2022 election cycle. People thought that because of inflation, because of the border crisis, because of all these problems, that there's going to be a red wave, that Americans will overwhelmingly vote for Republicans, and there will be red wave, there will be massive Republican victories. Well, we did have some significant victories, but there wasn't the kind of red wave that people were hoping for. We did have significant victories, but not really a red wave. And so that's why I say going into 2024, common sense may tell you that it's obvious that Republicans are going to win. They are going to win big. There'll be major victories for Republicans. Because look what's happening at the border. Look at inflation, gas price, so on and so forth. People are sick and tired of these liberal policies, and they are going to vote for Republicans. That might be the mindset. But let me tell you, you cannot take things for granted. And that's why the ground game is so important. It's important for candidates, whether you are running for mayor, whether you're running for city council, whether you're running for state assembly, state senate, governor, U.S. Congress, U.S. Senate, whatever office you're running for. If you are a conservative, if you are a Republican, if you believe in the Constitution, if you want to protect people's freedom, if you want to protect people's rights, if you want to secure the southern border, if you want to have sound economic policies in your community, if you want to bring back fiscal responsibility in government, if you want to promote transparency and accountability in government, if you are a conservative, you are going to have to go out and meet people and meet the voters and spread your message that human contact is very important, that person to person contact is very important, the ground game. Connect with the grassroots, connect with the people in your community, connect with the communities that feel left out. Focus on the cities, but focus on the rural communities too. Go to the suburbs, go to the farmlands, go to the remote towns and villages in your state, connect with people. Listen to their concerns. There are many Americans who are frustrated and they feel left out. They feel like their elected officials aren't listening. And this is common across the country. There are many communities where people feel left out. It's important for conservative candidates to connect with those communities, with those people, with those voters. Connect with the grassroots. That's the formula to win elections, no matter which office you're running for, local government, state government, federal government. If you're running for a county board, connect with the people in the county. Within the county, you can have different areas. You can have, like in Dane County, it's a populated county. Madison is the urban center, but there are some parts of Dane County that are quite rural. And so that's why I say whatever office you're running for, connect with the people in that district, in that area. My friends, let me look at the chat window here. Yeah, lots of discussion. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining. I want to thank each and every one of you by name, but I may end up missing a few names. But my friend Terry is here, and Teresa Ross, and Cat007 and others. Thank you for joining, Susan. Thank you for tuning in. And I know there are other people who joined who probably did not write anything in the chat window, but I appreciate each and every one of you. My only request is this: please help me spread my message. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family members about my channel. Help me get more subscribers. Laura is here. Laura joined late, but I watched the replay. Thank you, Laura. I'm going to end my live stream here in a couple minutes, but I thank you for joining in. No worries about joining late. I know we all have busy lives, and it's also difficult for me sometimes to, maintain a fixed schedule, and that's why sometimes I do my live streams at 8 p.m., sometimes at 9:30 or 9 o'clock. And sometimes when I'm out and about, and I know it's going to be late by the time I get home, I try to do live stream from my car, from my vehicle, because I want to stay connected. I don't want to miss doing a live stream. So sometimes I do it from my car. And so I appreciate each and every one of you for joining. Once again, my friends, Republicans will have to win in November 2024. It is so important. We need conservative leadership. We need Republicans in control, having a majority, having a big majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. Republicans must also work hard to regain the majority in the U.S. Senate, and we need a Republican president in the White House. We need Donald Trump. With that, my friends, thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. And I'll be back again with more videos, more live streams. So please stay connected to my channel. Thank you so very much. And I hope you have a wonderful night. And I'll be back again soon. Thank you so much. Good night.